I am Hypnotist, and I'm here to give a sort of a breakdown on the hypnotic act that was a few years ago on America's Got Talent. There's a very talented hypnotist named Chris Jones, and I'm going to break down what was happening here, what he was doing, and how he was able to do what he did. And hopefully you learn a bit about hypnosis. And of course, I'm not going to teach you how to hypnotize. That's coming up in my course on my Patreon that I'll be releasing soon. But for now, I just want to break down the way he used hypnosis very effectively, explain a little bit of what's going on and how this works a bit. So without further ado.
What's your name?
Chris Jones.
And where are you from, Chris?
South side of Chicago.
Then what do you do, young man?
I am a professional hypnotist. I do college and high school shows.
Okay, so show us what you do.
All right. We're going to make one fast disclaimer. And Howie, I would love to borrow you because I did grow up with Bobby's World.
Okay, so right here you might notice how he selected Howie Mandel. And this is a very interesting subject here because Howie Mandel is very intelligent. One of the prerequisites that makes a good hypnotic subject is someone who's intelligent. And Howie Mandel is a very, very intelligent person. And also, look at how he responded when he said that he grew up with Bobby's World. Now, Bobby's World is a cartoon that was based on Howie Mandel's son as a kid, and it meant a lot to him. The fact that the hypnotist, Mr. Chris Jones here, mentioned how he grew up with Bobby's World, it was able to create a bit of trust there. So he's already off to a good start.
Nick is going to come out here. He's going to make a little disclaimer.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Give a big round of applause, and thank you. I'll see you in just a moment.
All right. The real deal is a serious situation, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not want to be hypnotized, now is the time where you can get up and leave your seat.
Very, very powerful part of the show here. So the fact that Nick Cannon comes out and makes a disclaimer about how that hypnosis is going to be taking place, he's helping to build the frame that is real deal hypnosis. And he's adding a bit more of the mystique to the act, building the tension in the audience. Hypnosis is about to be happening if you don't want to be hypnotized. So showing that it's possible for audience members to get hypnotized. So very good stuff here.
Honestly, anyone in the audience, a lot of people who don't want to be hypnotized. This is interesting.
Now see, if the audience members who got up and left knew what I know, also what you guys know, they would know that there was absolutely nothing to be afraid of, especially if they knew about hypnosis. But because a lot of people have this expectation of some kind of superpower, some kind of spirit, or some kind of magic that's going to happen, that they think when the hypnosis happens that they're going to accidentally get hypnotized, which is possible for people who expect something to happen. If someone expects something to happen, then it will happen. Now, some call this the placebo effect, and yes, the placebo is a form of hypnosis, but hypnosis itself isn't the placebo. So I'll get into that in future videos as well. Let's keep going.
Yes, everything but my hand.
Nothing's been set up. I just wanted to ask permission, ask consent from one of my heroes from my childhood that I could touch you with a fist pump.
I just don't shake hands.
That's okay. I'm going to try something real fast with you. Make your legs become stuck, your back become stuck, but relax, okay?
He's already giving him some suggestions right there, and he's causing a bit of confusion. It gives his conscious mind a task so he can start slipping suggestions into his unconscious. So he's telling him to make his upper and lower body stiff, but also be relaxed. Now, how possible is it to completely tense up your upper and lower body and relax at the same time? It's pretty difficult. So that's a confusing statement. Really, really good work as a hypnotist here.
Arms like this, please. Try to resist, okay?
Am I holding back?
Just try to resist. Yeah, be as strong as you can. Good. And one more time, resist. Unequal pressure. You're very sturdy. Relax your arms.
Also, looks for when he tells him to relax his arms. He doesn't think about relaxing his arms. He immediately puts his arms down without thought, which means he's a very, very compliant subject. That means he's letting his automatic processes do all the work for him, which makes it very easy for a hypnotist. Now, being hypnotized doesn't mean that the person is dumb or that they can't think, but during a hypnosis show, resistance doesn't really make for a good subject, because a lot of people out there are trying to prove the hypnotist wrong, or they're trying to prove that they can't be hypnotized, which is pretty silly if you really think about it, because hypnosis is really the ability to use your mind and be able to use it very, very powerfully, showing you the power of your own mind. But a lot of people aren't open to using their own mind, so they set themselves up to really look foolish, and then a lot of really misinformation out there about hypnosis. But that's why I Am Hypnotist is here to put you on the right track.
Can I ask, how old are you?
I'm gonna be 60 this year.
Happy birthday soon.
Happy with thanks.
In my hand, you're just gonna imagine there's a clock. And it's gonna go from
Building
60
the rapport.
to 5. Look right here, please. 60 is the time. Deep breath in.
Okay, this is known as an induction. So every hypnotic induction starts with a point of focus. Now he's looking very closely at Howie Mandel's eyes as he looks at his hand and having him imagine a clock. Now imagination is the gateway to the unconscious mind, because all imagination comes from the unconscious. So as Howie is focused on his hand and looking at the clock as he counts backwards, there's a lot happening there. His conscious mind is only focused on this one thing, which will put him in that state of relaxation and focus. It is getting him prepared to go into a very, very deep trance. And this is really good work by the hypnotist. Again, let's keep going.
As we go back, you'll be 50. The time.
We are also not allowed to show Chris hypnotizing on television. So as we speak, he's currently hypnotizing Howie.
The reason why they can't show him going over a full hypnotic induction, deepener, suggestions, all this stuff, because maybe there are some kids out there that might get the idea to try to do this with someone in their lives. You know, can't have little middle school kids hypnotizing their friends and their crushes and all this stuff, because that would be not that they can make them do anything against their will. It's just, and it might be inappropriate in school or without supervision of an adult. Let's continue.
And now 10 years old.
It's quite interesting.
Staying up past your bedtime. Another deep breath in. 5 years old. Imagine, picture, and feel in your mind that you're 5. Try to resist. Stare right here. 5 years old. There's no strength in this body.
Reason why we wouldn't choose someone like Mel B. She's too skeptical. Her analytical mind, she's ready to just to completely discredit what's happening here, which is not really good for a hypnotic subject. Now, how he's fully engaged, you notice how his arms went limp and loose as soon as Chris here gave them a little test. They immediately went down without any resistance. So again, very compliant, very good subject. These are things that any hypnotist wants to look for in a subject that he's working with. Continuing.
We'll touch you on the shoulder. Your chin will go towards your chest. Sleep, but do not fall. Relax.
Okay. So keep in mind that they didn't show the entire induction and the process that was happening here during this hypnosis show. So Howie was already hypnotized before he even touched him on the shoulder and told him to go to gave him the sleep suggestion. When he touched him on the shoulder, that was a cue for his unconscious mind to kick in and just take over to put him in a very deep trance. And also, it's what happened with this girl in the audience. Now, there's a lot of people who commented on it saying that it was fake, that the girl was faking. This is very much possible, because if she was just engaged in what was happening as Howie was, then she was processing all the suggestions, she was following along with everything, and she was fully engaged as well. So she would have been able to fall into a trance very easily. It happens all the time. There have been times in VR here where I have been doing hypnosis with someone and I happen to look behind me and the person behind me is fully in trance, and more in trance than the person who I'm working with in front of me. So this can happen, and I believe this is very real. Now, some may debate, some may have whatever they believe, but I am hypnotist and you're not. Let's keep watching.
Relax every
That
muscle.
person passed out.
Relax every nerve. Relax every fiber. Let your chin touch your chest. And I will say the word sleep. Sleep. Relax all the way down.
Okay, now he uses the word sleep. Now when a person is in a hypnotic trance, they never sleep. They're extremely relaxed. It's the closest thing to sleep. Now, very deep hypnotic trance, which is known as the theta state, or also known as somnambulism, is the point where it's right before you're ready to go to sleep, or right as you're waking up. So it's those two moments. It was called a hypnagogic state. And when a person goes into that state, they're at their most suggestible. That's why if a person wants to reprogram their unconscious mind, a very effective way to do that is to listen to some audio affirmations and stuff as they're going to sleep, because the conscious critical mind isn't questioning or isn't rejecting the suggestions that's going through. Also, why it's a very bad idea to watch TV while going to sleep. Any of you doing that, you need to stop that right now. Okay.
Let go. Howie, hear my voice in a moment.
Also, why Howard Stern would be a very, very bad subject, difficult subject to bring up, because he's far too skeptical, far too willing to criticize and reject any possibility. His mind isn't open to hypnosis in that way. So that's why Howard would be a very bad subject for hypnosis. Continue.
Howie, hear my voice. This is the only suggestion I will give you. Gloves are okay with you. You're not afraid of germs in gloves. I'm wearing gloves now. I'm a huge fan of you. You accept handshakes with gloves. I'm now wearing gloves. You'll imagine, picture.
As you notice, as he's talking to Howie is fully aware that he's being talked to. He's fully aware that he's in hypnosis, that he's in a hypnotic state. He can hear every word that the person is saying, but he's not rejecting the suggestions. As he's in a very deep state, the hypnotist has already gained his trust. He's already gained compliance, and he's following along with the suggestions that the hypnotist is suggesting. And as he's giving the suggestions that Howie will shake hands with someone who's wearing gloves. Now, fact about Howie Mandel, he's a big germaphobe, so he does not like to shake hands with anyone if they're not wearing gloves, because he has OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and he does not like to shake hands with anyone without gloves. He has a huge fear of germs. So why I 100% believe that this hypnosis show is absolutely real, because just watch what happens next. And as he tells Howie that he likes to shake hands with gloves, he's already putting the image in his head. Now, Howie is very relaxed and he's very deep in a hypnotic state. So all those suggestions that are going through his unconscious mind is already picturing shaking hands with someone with gloves as he's suggesting it. His mind is already creating that scenario, that reality. And so as he tells Howie that he's wearing gloves, as he's already gotten Howie's trust, Howie isn't focused on the fact that he's not wearing gloves. His mind has already accepted that reality. So let's continue.
Feeling your mind.
This is good.
Take a picture.
What you should have gotten to.
Listen to my voice. Imagine that I'm wearing gloves and you will shake my hand, Howie. Deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Wide awake. Huge fan, always. I'm wearing gloves now. I want to extend to you, thank you so much. I have nice gloves on. That'll be great, please.
Now notice there was absolutely no hesitation there. He didn't hesitate. If that was staged or anything like that, they would have to do several takes, as Howie Mandel does have a very deep fear of germs, and his OCD just would not let him do that without hesitation if he truly knew that the person wasn't wearing gloves. So this is also another very, very good example of hypnotic suggestion, how the mind, once it accepts the suggestion, the unconscious mind will create that reality. And that's what you're seeing when a lot of times when you see these shows. Now Howie, right now he's in a state very similar. If anyone has had surgery and they've been in like twilight, that's what this is like. So he's in a state very similar to twilight in surgery. So that's what this is. So keep paying attention. This is really, really good stuff. And in that state, he's accepting all the suggestions, only from Chris here though, because Chris is the only one who has gained the rapport, and he's keeping that rapport by being consistent in his suggestions, his delivery, his tone, which is all things that, you know, I'm going to teach in my course coming up. You guys will learn how to do stuff like this and more. Stick around.
Let your legs become stuck, your back become stuck. Go to sleep.
No! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you rock.
Howie!
Howie, hear my voice. You'll be alert, aware, and fully refreshed. 1, 2, and 3. Wide awake. Give them a big round of applause. Howie, wide awake. Thank you so much, Howie. Thank you so much for all of your...
If you guys notice right here, like right as he walked away, Howie Mandel shaked his hand again because he didn't get rid of any of the suggestions that he previously gave. Howie is still in the hypnotic state. Howie is what's known as a somnambulist. Now, somnambulism is the same state as a sleepwalker. So not everyone is a somnambulist. 85% of the people can be guided to somnambulism, but only 20% of the population are somnambulists. Now, these are people who can go very deeply into trance very quickly, and their mind is capable of producing almost any reality that you can imagine. It's an incredible skill to have. It's both great for the hypnotist and the subject.
Time. Appreciate that. Good game, sport. That's it. Take your time, though, please.
I can't believe it.
Do you know what you just did?
No. What'd I do?
Can I tell him what he did?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to tell Howie, what I saw up there was, for the first time in a long time, you were able to shake his hand, and he is
With a
not
glove.
wearing a glove.
No, he didn't.
He's
So
not.
he was. You were wearing a glove?
But he wasn't.
No.
Are you being serious?
He hypnotized
I'm
you to
really
think.
sorry to trick your mind.
So you shook hands twice.
Are you
Effortlessly. Like he put his hand out and you shook it
Well,
twice.
he shook his hand.
Can you not do something so he will not have this problem anymore going forward with your snipping?
You shook hands.
That would be so awesome.
Gladly.
Just get rid of his germophobia altogether.
Yeah, why don't you have him get rid of it forever?
What are you doing?
This is a note and paper. Is it okay I give you paper?
I can handle
Do me a
it.
favor. Sit all the way back in the chair.
Okay, notice what's going on here. So Howie is still in a very hypnotic state. Even though he was brought out, there's a 5-minute period after a person has been deeply hypnotized, a 5 to 10 minute period called the hypnotic hangover. So that's the point when the mind is still in the process of being fully alert and fully awake. That's why we as hypnotists, whenever we work with someone, we always stick around for about 5 minutes to make sure that no contrary suggestions get in, no outside things, because a hypnotist could spend 2 hours in a ton of very, very good work, but all it takes is one suggestion within that 5-minute period can undo everything. So just a quick little fact about hypnosis. But anyway, so Howie is still in that hypnotic hangover state, which means he's extremely suggestible still, even though he knows that he shook his hand without gloves. His conscious mind hasn't processed that enough for his unconscious mind to get the anxiety and stuff that will come along with him learning that he did that while hypnotized. Also, Howie is extremely compliant there. He asked him to sit back in his chair. He didn't think about sitting back. He didn't look around. He just sat back in his chair. He did it without thinking about it. Still fully suggestible. And that was a test there. Let's continue.
Here,
Okay.
Hold that, and then I'm going to ask you to read that out loud to yourself.
Go to sleep.
I know some of you are thinking, like, how is that possible? Okay, so if Chris told Howie to go to sleep, he probably would go into that hypnotic state, but we will never reject the sound of our own voice. That's why affirmations and autosuggestion work so well, because our own voice is extremely powerful So with him reading that out loud, he not only read it audibly, but he had some sub-vocalization happening in the background. That's something that you can't help as someone who's under hypnosis. Your sub-vocalization happens, like it's that little voice in the back of your head, things like that. So as he read that, he gave himself the suggestion, which was followed immediately by him. So this is really, really good work here.
In a moment, everyone has on the smallest, thinnest latex gloves. You won't notice it, but everyone is wearing gloves. Wide awake, my friend.
Hi, nice to see you today.
I see you.
Again, this is really, really good work. Now, there's no way Howie would shake hands with all those people without gloves and without any hesitation. He did it. You could see there was no look. He didn't cringe. He didn't hesitate. So really, really good work by the hypnotist here. He's extremely good at this. But he has also made some very foolish mistakes in future, in which if this goes well, I'm going to point out some of the mistakes he made.
Because you're the greatest comedian. You're a great comedian.
Because we love you.
Howie just asked me, why is everyone laughing? And I said, because he's a great comedian. Isn't he? Big round of applause for Howie. Hey, Howie, big round of applause. Great comedian.
He's still very suggestible, still in a hypnotic state. So in the very near future, I'm starting a Patreon page, and I'm going to have a hypnotic course in the top tier of that Patreon page, and I'm going to limit that to a few, maybe 100 people who get in on that, because this information is stuff that I have been studying for many, many years, and I'm going to be giving some secrets, some stuff that you can't find here on YouTube, and it would take a very, very deep dive into the internet to learn how to do this stuff. So, and Chris here, I applaud him. Okay, so that was my explanation of what was happening on that very popular episode of America's Got Talent. And the hypnotist Chris Jones is a very, very talented hypnotist, but as you will see as I break down another performance of his on America's Got Talent, where he made some very, very bad mistakes there, and more follow-up on what happened after this episode. So stay with me. I am Hypnotist. Peace.